Hey everybody, hope you're all doing well. Today I wanted to bring you a quick video on a couple of different things that everybody should be doing in order to reduce the file sizes of their digital files, whether you're keeping them on the S drive or whether you're also keeping backup copies of your work files digitally on your own computers. The first item we're going to go over is how to actually compress your photo sizes in your work files for your subject photo folders, which is probably going to be important for everybody, both residentially and commercially. And then the second item we're going to go over is mainly for the commercial appraisers that still use Microsoft Word to process out their jobs, and it's a way that they can get the file size of each of the Word documents to be reduced greatly. I know over the years we've always heard people in our office talk about how when you store photos on the server, it takes up a lot of space, and that's really accurate up to a point. There's things that we can do in order to reduce those photo sizes. Since a lot of us now are using our phones in order to take our pictures out in the field, what we're realizing is that the phones actually take way better pictures than we actually really need. A lot of times the photos are high definition, they take up a lot of megapixels, and it's good if you are using the photos to blow up and make big posters. But for what we're using them for within our appraisal reports, the photos are actually a lot more intricate than they actually need to be, or a lot more detailed than they need to be digitally. So really, when we're only putting it in our reports, we don't need the photos to be as high definition, because the photos we're using are still relatively small, and they won't get pixelated even if they're at a lower resolution. So work with me here. I'm trying a new program to record my screen, and all right, there we go. Hopefully you guys should be able to see everything that's going on my screen now. What I'm going to do is I'm going to go into an old file that I haven't reduced yet. I'm going to pick a job that I did back in 2017. Let's go in here and I'll pick a apartment building that I did on Ryers Avenue. All right, and right here is my folder that I have for all my subject photos that I have within the report. So there's 34 photos. If I check the properties of it right now, just for informational purposes, that is 99.2 megabytes. So it's 99.2 megabytes for 34 photos, which is pretty high. So for example, if I go back and take a look at the size of the entire file, it is only 168 megabytes. So basically 59% of that total file size is my photos. So what you can do is you go into your subject photos, you click on one of them, and then you hold down your shift button and you click on the last one. It should highlight all 34 of those photos. You can right click on it and you go down to where it says send to, and then it says send to mail recipient. You click on that, and it's going to ask for your picture size. You could do smaller, small, medium. I've been just doing medium, so it keeps some of the same enough resolution that we would need. But it's going to compact it way smaller than it actually needs to, or than it actually is right now. So you hit attach, and what that's doing is it's actually going to prepare to send all those photos in an email, which you don't actually send the email, but what it's doing is it's actually compressing all the photos for you. So while that's doing that, for comparative purposes, I'm going to go back here and I'm going to create a new folder called compressed photos. All right, and then now it's flashing, so I'm going to go to compressed photos. I'm going to open this up, and it's going to have an email that's going to have all the photos in there that I just selected. All you have to do is go to your first little arrow here, and you click on that, then you hit select all, which is going to select them all, and then you just click on one of the blue ones and you drag it over into your compressed only in your compressed photos file, and you release. And now all the photos are right there. And you can right click on them, hit view, extra large icons, large icons, so you can see them the same way they were before. So as you can tell, all the photos are exactly the same, except for when you view the details. Now your photos are only between 92 and 104 kilobytes, which is way smaller than they were before. When, if you take a look at what they were before, they were all 3,000, 2,000 kilobytes. So basically you have the same photos now, but instead of having 92.2 megabytes of space being used to store all 34 of those photos, if you look in your compressed folder file, you're actually now using 2.63 megabytes. So if you go in your calculator, you got 2.63 divided by 99.2.02. You just reduced your file size for your photos by 98%. Okay, and these photos are the compressed photos are going to look exactly the same in all of our reports. It doesn't affect the pixelation of the photos, because the photos we're still using in our reports are only 3.5 by 5.5 inches, whereas you would need a larger photo size if you were going to expand that photo or make it a lot bigger. So for what we're using the photos for, we only need a medium resolution photo. And by doing this process, you can actually reduce the file size of those photos by up to 98%. So when you're done there, you can actually then just keep all your photos in your compressed photo folder, which are the same exact photos that you had in there before, and you can actually get rid of the one labeled subject photos, which has the higher resolution photos in there. Okay, so that was the first item of how to reduce your file size. The second one is within the report itself, and this is mainly for the commercial appraisers who do a lot of their reports still in Word. What you find here is I save my report as appraisal report, 8026 Ryers Avenue. Right now, the report size is 58,807 kilobytes. You open up this folder or file. The report will come up. And the way you can reduce the file size is you go down to any photo that you have within the report. So my first photos are coming up here after the summary and salient facts. And what I do is I just select on one of the photos, and up here you're going to see where it says picture tools. You go down to format, and you go to compress pictures. And it's going to ask you whether you want to just compress the selected pictures or all pictures in the document. I select on all pictures in the document. And then you hit OK. And then it gives you this little warning here saying compressed pictures may reduce the quality of your image. Do you want to apply picture optimization? And you hit apply. For what we're using these photos for, the amount of the reduction in the quality of the images aren't going to be noticeable within the report. So you hit apply, and it's going to go through the entire document, and it's going to basically do the same thing that compressing the files within your work file did, but it's going to do that for all your files, all your photo files within the report. I would suggest you do this when you're finished a report, right before you send it over to Michelle, because then at that point, it's going to reduce all the photos in the report. It's also going to reduce the the size of the other photo files, which includes some of the tables and some of the charts that you put in the report as well. So now that this is done, you're going to be able to see what the effect it's going to have once you hit your save button. So before we optimized the photos, it was 58,807 kilobytes. And let's see what it goes down to once we hit the save button. Okay, now it's 12,689 kilobytes. So then basically that the file size for the appraisal report went from 58,807 to 12,689. So if we break out the calculator again, we can see what the reduction in that would be: 6,000 or 12,689 divided by 58,807, which is 21%. So basically, you reduce that file size by almost 80%. So in some cases, I've even seen it go down as much as 90%, depending on how many photos you actually use in the reports and how complicated the assignments are. So these are two different ways where you can actually reduce a lot of the file sizes by close to 80%. So now if we have that saved and we go and we have all our compressed files in here and we get rid of the higher definition photos that we don't need, and we go back to our total work file size, and we take a look at what the properties are of that now, we are now at a total of 84.2 megabytes. Before we did this optimization, we were at 168 megabytes. So you do the math, and 84.2 divided by 168 is right around 50%. So just by doing those two actions that took a minute to compress your work file photos, took about 30 seconds to reduce your photos within the report, you basically reduce the entire work file size by about half. So then that means that we can put about twice as many files onto the server, or twice as many files onto the drive before it starts filling up. So hopefully you guys found this interesting. Like I said before, when we started with the previous Workfile video, this is a new way of being able to share information with you guys. So if you could hit the subscribe button, hit the notification bell on the YouTube page, and then each time we go ahead and we load a new video, you guys will automatically be prompted that there's one in there. So that saves us a step of having to tell everybody every time there's a new video that comes by. If you have any questions, let me know. Otherwise, I hope you're all doing well and have yourselves a great day.